the one and only Leo Biaz. Hey, Leo.
I'm excited to be back, my man. It was 9 days in Vegas. We got stuck in the desert, and we had a little hangover remix out there, man.
I wore a wig to school once, and they said no headgear was allowed.
How did
spider web
was it
tights.
Obvious that it was a wig?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was having fun.
Wig.
See, this is exactly why we have them on the show, and this is what makes them fun.
You're listening to KXVS, the voice of Stockton, 92.1 FM.
Do you want to relive the golden days of Stockton? Join Nate Knott on Stockton Alive every first and third Monday at 6 p.m. Tune into thevoiceofstockton.org.
My name is Josh, and you're listening to KXVS, the voice of Stockton, 92.1 FM. Catch us live on Facebook, YouTube, and the TuneIn app.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of KXVS, the voice of Stockton, or its parents, affiliates, management, and staff.
KX, the voice of Stockton, presents Lions We Serve, live with your host, Connie O'Dea.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Lions We Serve live here in Stockton, California. We are on KXVS radio station, the voice of Stockton. I'm Lion Connie O'Dea, and I am president of the San Joaquin Lions Club here in District 4A1 in San Joaquin County. And today we're going to be talking about one subject. That subject is the District 4A1's annual All-Star football game. And this is a fantastic program that we have in our district. This game this year was the 45th annual game. It actually started in 1973 at the district convention in Santa Cruz. There was delegates that voted for the All-Star football game to be a district project here in District 4A1. The committee formed the first Central Lions California All-Star football game. And at that time, the game was played at the University of Pacific here in Stockton in their original football stadium, which the football stadium now is gone. So we have been playing in Tracy, California for several years now, and this Tracy High School in Tracy, California. And I would like to tell you that from the year of 1972 from 1973, when the game started, to present 2017, there was profits raised for community activities of $386,520. Now, each year, the profits that are raised through this game are given back into the different clubs that participate with the district all-star football game. And then all that money is used in the community for community service projects. And you all know about raising money for your projects. Well, this is one of the main district fundraisers that we have every single year. And today I have my guests. I'm honored to have Don Norton. Don Norton is a head coach for the program. Correct, Don?
I'm one of the board members.
Yes.
And I'm the head football coach out at Stagg High School.
At Stagg High School.
Yes.
Yes. Stagg High School is here in Stockton, California. And we do have a board of directors that plan this whole football game. And Don is on the board of directors. And then we also have today, my other guest is Anthony Gaines. He is the assistant coach at Lincoln High School, my alma mater, as a matter of fact. Graduated a long time ago. We didn't have a big football team at that time. And so I want to welcome both of you here. We're going to do a follow-up of the game. For the last 2 weeks, I showed a program that was where we had two former players of the All-Star football game, and they talked about how important it was to them that this game, that they were able to play in this wonderful game, and how much it has helped them as they moved on to their universities and now playing university football. And it was really exciting to hear what they had to say. So I hope you have a chance to go back to last week's show on the Facebook page. You can find it there under videos, and also see that show and listen to what these football players had to say about this wonderful game and how important it was to them and to their future. So I would like to start out with talking with Don Norton. He's the head coach at Stagg High School, and I would like you to tell us how you felt about being on the board, what your responsibilities have been, and what you have done with this football game.
Well, I've been a board member since 2013, so I've been involved about 5 or 6 years. And I got involved because I was actually one of the head coaches for the North team, and that was a great experience for me to do that. And my job with the North team is coordinating the assembling of the rosters. So I help the coach that's selected to be the North team coach reach out to the coaches in our area to help the North coach select the players for the team. So that's my job with the board. And then I also offer a lot of suggestions, maybe sometimes too many suggestions, but offer suggestions on, how we can improve this game and to, just keep this game going as long as we can keep this thing going.
Well, when you said you have coached for the North team, now, the way this football game is arranged is that we take all the all-star players, the best players from all the high schools in the southern part of District 4A1, and then we take all the players in the northern part of District 4A1. So we end up having, oh my goodness, maybe 10, 12, 15 different high schools that are participating from the north and participating from the south. And so we have the two teams, and I understand it's quite a chore in selecting the best players. How do you do that? You
get, right now, we've changed the format. We used to have committees that would meet on a Saturday in January and select the teams that way with the input from the head coach. Well, now what we've changed over is that the head coach and his staff get to select all the players, but all the nominations come through a huddle, which is an internet service to where everybody gets a chance to look at game film of the players that are nominated.
Now, what again, can you explain to our viewers what Huddle is?
Huddle is an online service that keeps and stores all the game films from every game for all the different schools that are in this area.
Oh,
so by being able to use the internet, the coaches are able to send their films on the players that they nominate to the head coach and to the staff that he has, and then they go through and watch game films of each player nominated, and then they select the top 30 players. We usually get anywhere from 80 to 120 players nominated a year. So it's an extensive process to go eliminate 90 and 120 down to 30 players that are actually selected to the team. And then a lot of coaches will select 5 to 10 alternates, so in case kids drop from the game after they're selected, then they keep the roster filled from the alternates that they select also.
So 30 students from the northern high schools and then 30 from the southern high schools? Is that
correct?
How it's divided? Okay.
Yes, 30 players from each side are selected. And like I said, you get some players that come and go. I know one year I was the head coach. We selected Aaron Judge who was a receiver out at Linden at the time, and now he's playing professional baseball for the Yankees.
Oh,
but he chose not to play in the game because he wanted to focus on his baseball career, which is fine. But that's why you have to select the extra players, the alternates, in case you have players that are unable or choose not to participate in the game.
Okay, jeez. And so when, as a board member, most of the people on the board are Lions. They're members of Lions clubs and people in the community, correct?
I think I'm the only non-Lions Club member on the board. And
okay.
They keep trying to get me to join, but we haven't narrowed that down to which organization yet. But
I have a good one.
but all the board members, it's a very small group that really runs this game. There's about 7-10 people that really get involved in keeping this game going every year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a small group, but they are a hardworking group, and they are very committed to this game every year.
I know they are, and I'm trying to find, okay, Elizabeth Gibbs Olson.
Yes.
She is the chairperson and has been the chairperson for the All-Star Game for many years now.
Correct.
And she is just dynamite. And,
yes, she is.
Oh, my goodness gracious. She puts this together, and it's just amazing what she does and how she does it. Yep, everybody on the board. I'm looking at the board members in the program. And, we got to get you on board as a Lion, that's for sure. when you give so much to this game already, definitely. But Elizabeth, she belongs to the Delta Lions here in Stockton, California. We've got about 5 different clubs here in Stockton. And she has done absolutely a fantastic job. And I was watching her at the game, and it's just like her running all over everywhere, taking care of everything. It was amazing. So I'd like right now to talk to Anthony. And Anthony, you are an assistant coach at Lincoln High School.
Yes.
And can you tell me how you got involved and what your involvement has been?
I got involved with the All-Star program. I was sitting at home. I got a phone call from our head coach, and he goes, "Hey, would you like to be an All-Star coach?" And I felt excited because as a kid growing up, when I was playing football, All-Stars was like the ultimate challenge to be an All-Star. I didn't make the team at the time. So I say, you know what? Coaching is just like playing. Excitement, getting involved with the players, you get to know people. And I took it for what it was worth. I had a great time. And to go forward with that, when you have 30 kids from different schools, all of them are star players in their own football teams, come together on one team, that is a hard task to do initially. But once the kids buy in and realize that we're all having a great time, it makes it a family within a week. Last night, I got text messages last night, "Hey, Coach, happy Father's Day."
Oh, wonderful.
I mean, that was kind of riddling through me because I just met these kids Monday. And just
last week,
last
Monday.
And just the love and the compassion that they had just to have a great time being around good people, I took that very personal.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, I'd like to ask you, both of you, being that you have worked so close with this game and worked with the students, these are all graduates. They've all graduated from their high schools. Is that right? Okay. And, in fact, didn't you graduate from Lincoln High?
Yes. Lincoln alumni, class of 94.
I'm not going to tell you when I graduated. That was when Lincoln first got the high school, 1962.
Okay.
Yeah. And that we didn't have much at that time. We did have a football team that played St. Mary's a lot. I think we played Stagg. I don't know how many other different football teams that were in the, what do you call it? In
the league.
In the league. But it was exciting. We had homecoming parade at Lincoln at that time, too. So this goes back a long ways.
Long ways.
Yeah. So what I'd like to ask you, starting with you, Dawn, is how do you feel that about this game and the players, what this game has done for players, and what the motivation of the board of directors is and their mission with this game?
Well, you know, the mission on this, it's twofold. Of course, it's a fundraiser. for the Lions Club and for the district for the Lions Club. So that's the biggest thing. It's a fundraiser, and it's also an opportunity for these young men to continue to play football at least one more time. For some of these kids, that was their last time that they're ever going to play football, period, and for sure their last high school type of game. So it's a great motivation for them. And I think that's the big motivation for this game. Is that, again, it's twofold. It's to give them the opportunity to keep playing, and it's also the biggest fundraiser, or one of the biggest fundraisers for the Lions Club. Mm-hmm. And I also want to just add one more thing about Wayne Schneider on this. Wayne Schneider is one of the originators of this game. He and Bob Mattos from Stagg High School and Charlie Washington from Edison got together and approached the Lions Club to start this game. And Wayne is still the game coordinator. And Wayne does a lot of work for this. He's the one that sets up for these young men to be able to stay at UOP for a week, at Stanislaus State for a week, and he's probably the biggest person as far as collecting ads and the ad money that goes into supporting this game.
Right,
So,
we do have a wonderful program every year. I'll show you, put this on the screen, see if it'll show up on the screen. Can you get that? Okay. This, let me get it out. This is our program. And in the program, it has all the information about all the players, all the people who donated, the reason for the game, and everything. And now you're talking about ads. A part of the expenses is paid for by people putting ads for their businesses or personal ads in our program. And plus we have also every year we have a all-star football game T-shirt, and I don't know if you could see right here behind, right here on the wall is the T-shirt, and I have one on myself, you may see, but these are part of all the fundraising too. Now, as a board member, what are some of the tasks that you have in putting the whole game together?
Well, the task is we really get started on this in December, November, December, start selecting the coaches. We review the site where we're going to play the game. We also go over the expenses, how we're going to support the game financially. And then we also start discussing where the excess money that we have after we pay the expenses for the game, where the money is going to be donated to. Yes. So that starts November, December. January, we try to have the team selected. This year, we tried something a little bit different by having the banquet in June. I think we're going to go back to having the banquet back in March or April is usually when we do that. For the players and the parents and the coaches and everybody, we usually bring in a college coach or an NFL player or a college football player to come speak at the banquet. And so we start planning that.
Who was the guest speaker this year?
He was one of the NFL players. He's in the program, but he was an NFL player that had a chance to play in the All-Star game and had a chance to speak at the banquet. And we've had some outstanding coaches. We had Coach Barlow from Delta came and spoke at the banquet before, and Coach Snyder has spoken at the banquet. I mean, the list is endless of people that have spoken at the banquet. But we start planning all that stuff November, December, as far as that goes. Uh-huh. And then it's just a matter of trying to get the kids committed to the game and selecting the rosters, keeping the rosters going, getting all the paperwork in, and then making the arrangements for the North team to go to UOP and the South team to go to Stanislaus State.
Now, when Don was saying that the teams went to Stanislaus State, that's where they were housed for a whole week. This is Stanislaus University.
Yes, they were housed at Stanislaus State, and they practiced on campus at Stanislaus State.
And then the players from the North were at the University of Pacific, which is here in Stockton.
Correct.
And they gave up a dorm for them. So the communities are all coming together, too. Universities and business people and all the volunteers and of course all the Lions clubs that are in the whole district, they all participate. And they what we do is we buy about 25 tickets
Correct.
Each
Yes.
club does. And that money goes as a donation to the game. And as Lions, then we give out those tickets to people that may not have enough money to go and encourage them to go. And that's a really good feeling, too. So we have a large participation in this game. It's just not a plain game. It's a whole community, a whole district participation. What in selecting the coaches and who else do you select? The officiates?
Well, we select the coaches based on they have to make the playoffs in order to be eligible to be selected as a coach. So they have to be a playoff coach. And myself, Coach Snyder, and Mark Tennis, we sit down and we rank the coaches in order that we just go down the list and we ask coaches by order to participate in the game. And usually the first or second selection usually steps up and says, yeah, I'll do the game, because it's an honor for the coaches to do this game also.
Oh, I would think so. I really would think so. Now, Coach Snyder, could you tell a little bit about him to our viewers, because I'm sure nobody really out there knows who he is.
Well, Wayne Snyder is an all-star high school coach. He's a Hall of Fame high school football coach. And I tell you what, he's the driving force behind this game. I mean, Elizabeth, she's a go-getter. She gets after it. But like I said, Wayne's been involved with this game from the very beginning and one of the originators of this game. Yeah, like I said, he and Charlie Washington, Bob Mattos, Charlie was from Edison and Bob Mattos is from Stagg, organized the game, presented it to the Lions Club for the Lions Club to help sponsor this game, and that's how it all got started. And it's been 45 years, and it's the only game that's been together for 45 years that houses the players for a week.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Then, Anthony, as an assistant coach, what is your responsibilities? And then again, I'd like to hear your point of view of how you feel about the game.
My responsibility from the beginning is to make sure all the kids are safe. Like I said, they're put up at UOP for an entire week. It's 2 players per room. We have rules and regulations. We have curfews. We have to make sure that players abide by those rules. And like I said, at the end of the day, it was just great to see 18-year-old kids come together from all facts of life, all areas of the North. And the good thing that we do, had a team bonding night where we talked about things about each other, asked questions, and that kind of brought us together as a family, and it kind of broke the ice.
Icebreaker.
Yeah, because everyone gets there kind of like sitting back, like looking around the room, like who's this guy? But we sit them all down, have some fun, say some jokes, get everybody kind of like, okay, this is a place I want to be at.
Now, these players have all been on opposing teams from each other.
Yes.
So here they come together to form one team.
And you have some players that were rivals all throughout Pop Warner and throughout high school. And to see that live and in person, it's like, wow, these kids have been playing together for all this time.
And Pop Warner is Little League, right?
Little League football. And they come together and they made it to All-Stars. And you had a couple of players that were All-Stars in Little League and the same players are All-Stars in high school.
Oh, fantastic.
And that was pretty exciting to see that, because I coached Little League football. I seen these guys at 8, 9, 10 years old, and they come up and they're 15, 16, 17, and it's like, wow, they're on one team together. And also, us coaches that were coaching the team, we had to stay on campus with the players also. So we had 2 coaches every floor to make sure that it was safe and nothing got out of hand. I want to give a thanks to UOP for housing us. The food was great.
Where did you have your meals?
At the Chow Hall at the university.
The university? Oh, fantastic, great.
It was, every kid had a key, had a little swipe card. They swipe the card to get fed, and then they sit down and eat and just kind of relax. And the UOP is an outstanding college, and it was great to be there.
Fantastic. So in bringing your team together, what did you start with, and how did you bring them together to be one team?
The first thing that we did was we asked each individual, what is your name? What high school do you go to? And what do you want to be? What's your future like? And of course, everybody wants to go to the NFL and play football and make lots of money. But most of the kids were there just want to go to school, get an education, get a degree. And I found that awkward as a football coach because everybody wanted to go to the NFL, scholarships and everything. But this group of kids was very special. Hey, coach, I want to go to school, education, and get a job. And if I go to the NFL, I go. But if not, I got to have a plan B. And I was like, wow, that was interesting. And also, each day you progress as a family. The second day, I think we had, and I want to thank Coach Norton for housing us to practice at Stagg High School. Very good stadium, provided water for us. And that's the big thing, water and ice.
Oh, yes.
I think it was like 100 degrees out there, and we were just burning up out there, but we had the two-a-days. And a lot of kids that haven't played football since November, to start that motor back up in June is like, come on, coach. We just want to run plays to catch the ball, but you have to build that family back as a group. And this group of kids bought into it quickly. And I had to give them all the credit in the world because it's hard to coach your own high school team, let alone 30 strangers. And I felt we hit that family moment, I think, Tuesday, the second day.
Now, let me ask you, because you said it's hard to coach a regular team, but let alone a whole lot of new students.
Yeah.
So as a coach, what were some of your issues, some of the things you had to overcome, or some of the things you had to do, or what you learned?
I think as you learn with all-star players, they want to play football. So you get a guy that coming in, hey, coach, I play middle linebacker. Well, we got 3 middle linebackers, only one can play. Okay, I'll play right guard, or I'll play left tackle. I just want to play football. And that in itself, as a coach, that's what you want to hear. You want to hear that I'm a football player, coach. Wherever you need me, that's where I want to be at. So when you coach your younger kids that are like 13, 14, 15, they'll come in and, hey, coach, I'm a wide receiver, and that's it. Nothing else. And you kind of tell a kid that's 14 or 15, hey, man, I've been around football for 30 years. You might want to play something else just to get you seen in some recognition.
Oh, yeah.
So, but with the All-Stars, like I had a receiver, he's like, I'll play safety. That's what you want to hear, coach. I mean, you want to hear guys that want to play football, no matter what it is, they want to play. And I think
whatever the team needs, they do it. That's teamwork, right?
And the level of maturity. These guys are 18, about to be in college, and then you come back to your high school practice, it's like another world. Because these are still babies, still kids, and it's like you got to take it down a notch. And I learned a lot as a coach this week. I've seen a team of all-stars. I've never seen a team loaded like this with talent. And then to bring them together, then when you go to your team, you tell these kids, hey, I know what it takes to be an all-star. So I'm hoping that they take what I tell them, stay in the books, get your grades together, and you'll be an all-star, just like that.
That's fantastic. Dawn, you remember the 2 young men that were here at our last interview. Weren't they wide receivers?
Cottrell and KJ were both wide receivers, yes.
And both of those young men told their story of how the game meant to them, what it meant to them, and how one thing that I was really impressed with, because I've done a lot of counseling with youth, and one problem that a lot of youth have, and it's still going on today, is communication.
Exactly.
And how to really become a team player. And I think students that really play sports, and they have an opportunity to really learn how to be a team player. But then to go from one team into forming a whole team of players from all different high schools that you played against during the year, and them coming together as one team, I think the way you as a coach, and the other coaches have dealt with the students is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And the 2 players that were on my show last week, they talked about coming together with players from other teams. Remember when they were talking
Yes.
about that? Can you elaborate a little on that, Don?
Well, a lot of these kids are used to playing against each other, not with each other. And they're also from different areas. You have kids that come in from the foothills, you have kids from the city of Stockton, you have kids from down in Tracy,
right,
from Manteca, that all come together, and you have to pull them together as a team. I think as a coach for the All-Star team, one of the biggest things is being able to get them to come together as a team. They're all All-Stars. They're all good football players. Otherwise, they're not going to be there. So their playing ability and their skill level is fine. Now you got to get them to come together and play as one group. And I got to tell you, I went and watched a couple of I had a chance to watch these guys from Lincoln. The coaches work with these kids, and I thought they did a great job of pulling these guys together as a team. And I think that's the biggest challenge. The coaches that have had success in this game are the ones that can pull them together as a team the best. And the score, I don't think, really reflects how close that game was last Saturday night.
Right.
Because it was 10-0 for 3.5 quarters, and actually it should have been even less than that. A couple breaks for the South team. But I'll tell you what, I thought the Lincoln coaches did a great job of pulling those 30 kids together, getting them on the same page, going in the same direction. And again, that's the biggest challenge, is getting those kids to come together.
Right. And like you were talking about having the one night where you had the icebreaker, and people got to talk to each other. I've been in groups like that in my past careers, and it's really scary for a person to talk about themselves in front of strangers. But once they get over that hump, and I think that's what our two guests last week were talking about, the past players. They went on to play college football, and they graduated with very high GPAs. The one we know was 4.
KJ was a 4.25 GPA. Cottrell was not quite as good. He's over a 2.0. But, just to tell you about maturity, because Coach touched on the maturity level. See, Cottrell, when he went to Idaho, has grown a lot. His GPA for his first year at the University of Idaho was a 2.8. And that's a big accomplishment for a young man to go from Stagg, where he struggled as a student, to develop into a above average student. And KJ was always a good student for us. 4.25 is 3.8 at Lewis and Clark. So he's doing a heck of a job. Both of them are. And again, going back to what Coach talked about, the maturity, both these young men have grown up a lot as far as being able to communicate.
Oh, they did.
When they were sophomores, juniors, and get on a radio show, they probably wouldn't have been able to do that very well. But now, they've grown up, and they've had different life experiences. And so now coming and talking on the radio, that was a little bit easier for them than it may have been a couple of years ago. And I think part of the All-Star experience helps them
well, that's
do that.
what they were saying. Remember when I asked them what playing with this game, what it meant to them? And it really, what they were saying was it helped them to move on to college and to go to a new team with new people. And the wonderful thing is they were accepted into these universities and accepted into the football program. And that was absolutely remarkable. And it takes a lot to get into college. You got to have at least a C average, and then to be accepted and play football. That was wonderful to hear that. I met one young man at the banquet. Now, the banquet is when the Lions have a big dinner for all of the players and their families. And I met a family with one of the players. He was from the South, and he had received a full scholarship to play football and for a full scholarship for college, to a college in Montana. And then at the banquet, do you remember when they asked the students to come up and introduce themselves? And every single one of those young men, North team and the South team, all were going on to college, whether it was a university or it was a community college.
Exactly.
And I kept sitting there saying, my goodness, Delta Community College here in Stockton's already got a football team. And then Modesto Junior College already got a football team.
Yeah.
But what was... when I had the other two young men on, what impressed me so much is what it meant for them to play in this game, to be an all-star. Remember, they said, never thought I'd ever be an all-star. I may never play in another all-star game, but it meant a lot to them. And which one had the GPA of 4 point?
That's Kevin Johnson.
Kevin Johnson. One thing he said, and I never really realized what year of high school it was, but he felt like he was the underdog. And then he got into football. And now to be playing in an all-star game, when once you felt like, you were an underdog, and then all of a sudden you're working very hard, and I'm sure he himself worked hard and became an all-star player, and to listen to how it meant so much to them, and it was important to them in coming to a university, moving on with their career. And so this game has a lot of meat in it for these young people. And I'd like you to continue on the experience that you've seen with these football players.
Even though we didn't get the win, I think we won personally.
Right.
30 people came together and became a family within a week. Yeah, it would have been nice winning the game 55-20 or whatever it may be the score was, but I think as a young man, 30 people have their paths, their doors have opened up to something else that they can, wherever they go in life, they can look back at the All-Star Week and say, I could deal with whatever. Because like I said, for a kid coming from any high school around this area, that is a shock to seeing 30 other guys in a room together talking about just life in general. And I think as a coach, I sat back one night and I was just thinking, like, this is amazing. I mean, because you want to win the game as a football coach, but at the end of the day, you want to make an impact from a kid.
Oh, definitely.
And
let me ask our manager here, are you going to be able to play a clip of the game? Okay. We're going to go ahead and play a clip right now of the game. The KXVS was there recording the whole game. And the whole game is on our website also, and on the Facebook page for KXVS Voice of Stockton, if you'd like to go and see the game yourself. Okay? Just a moment here. Our technician is
South has the ball. Fourth down. They're just going to let this clock wind down. Hand is off. They're going to look. They're going to. South has the ball. South has the ball. Fourth down. South has the ball. Fourth down. South has the ball. Fourth down. They're just going to let this clock wind down. Hand is off. They're going to look. They're going to look. Touchdown. Touchdown, the South. And the South will win the 45th annual Lions All-Star Game here in Tracy this season. And the North had many opportunities this evening, but they cannot capitalize. The South with a victory this evening, 23. South has the ball. Fourth down. They're just going to let this clock wind down. Hand is off. They're going to look. They're going to look. Touchdown. Touchdown, the South. And the South will win the 45th annual Lions All-Star Game here in Tracy this season. And the North had many opportunities this evening, but they cannot capitalize. The South with a victory this evening, 23-2 right now. Quarterback draw. That was Gabe Sanchez at a.
Talking about the different plays that were going on, but that was the field and the players out there. We didn't get real close to them, but that was part of the game going on. And before we close, I just want to ask you one thing about you personally. How has this helped you personally, being involved with this type of an all-star game? We'll start with you, Anthony.
Personally, I found out what the Lions is all about. I had no idea what you guys represented, not at all. I just thought that the kids go to practice, play a game, and go have fun. But I realized how much you guys do for the community.
Yes,
and it touched me when we were at Linden at a banquet about the Ronald McDonald housing and how much the can top.
The flip tops.
The flip top is important. That's what they wanted. And I was like, why do they want that? And the guy broke it down. It was a different metal. He kind of broke it all down to me. I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's used to recycle and get money for the Ronald McDonald houses.
But he was adamant about how important that piece of material was. So as a coach and as a father, I'm going to start collecting those myself and donating them to you guys.
Oh, donate them to me.
Just
Y'all
to help
come
out.
pick them up. Yeah, last year, I believe our district turned in almost 4,000 pounds of those little flip tops that are on aluminum cans. Yes. And so, Don, I'll let you have the last word here.
Well, a couple of things, Connie. Hopefully I can get them in. I think, again, the community support for this game. The more community support, the more money that the Lions Club can donate to these different charities that can use the money. The attendance last Saturday night was okay, but we want to do better.
Yes.
And I think we need to keep pushing this so that we get more people out to the game or buy advertisement or support the game in any way that they can.
Right.
So I think for next year's game, it will be the 46th annual. Actually, we're talking about possibly bringing the game back to Stockton next year and seeing if we can boost the attendance a little bit. And last, Connie, I'd like to announce the award winners from the game.
Yes.
The MVP for the whole game, offensive MVP for the game was Ruben Lee from Brookside Christian. The MVP for defense was Gabriel Cordero from Turlock. The MVP for the whole game was Jordan Porter from Turlock. And then the most inspirational players, there's one from each team for the North, was Royal. Coach, help me with his last name.
Royal Sidigata.
Sidigata from Lincoln. And Cameron Elock from Houston was the most inspirational for the South team. So, again, they did a great job. Both teams are coming together as one team. Again, I want to compliment the North coaches, the Lincoln coaches, for doing a great job because it's hard to put a team together in 1 week. And the hardest thing, Coach, is getting an offense put together.
Yes.
That's the biggest challenge.
It is. Because every team has different schemes of how they run stuff. So you try to come in and implement what you do. A kid is like, I don't know, that's kind of foreign to me. So you have to go over and over again, repeat it. Like I said, it all came together.
That's wonderful.
And I thank you, Connie, for letting us be able to get 2 broadcasts on this game to keep promoting this game. And maybe we could do another one after the high school season, maybe in November or something, where we can
would be great.
Just keep the game in everybody's minds as we start building towards the 46th annual Lions All-Star game.
Exactly. I myself would like to, at our next district meeting, every quarter we have a district meeting that some of the coaches or you, Don, can come and talk to the rest of the Lions how important this game is. And maybe we might get some more video or something from the game where we could show it at the district meeting. What's important is when a district has this kind of event that affects so many people, you get so many people involved, and especially our youth, which is one of our major projects for Lions internationally, is working with the youth. And this game has produced such wonderful, wonderful effects for young men moving on in their careers. So I want to thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Coach Don Norton.
Thank you.
And Coach Anthony Gaines.
Yes, thank you.
I really want to thank you so very much. And thank you for all the work you put into our all-star football team. Okay? And I want to ask you all to please be here next week at 2 o'clock for the Lions We Serve live show. And this is Lion Connie O'Dea saying good night or good day, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.